Quick disclaimer, the books have hinted, and the show straight up confirmed, that some aspects of the commonly known recent history of Westeros at best have a lot more going on under the surface than people realise, and at worst are wildly inaccurate and made up to suit political agendas. However, to avoid unnecessary complication, and more importantly massive spoilers, this video is going to be the history of Westeros as it's generally accepted to be at the start of the books. Even with almost all of the kingdoms now united under Targaryen rule, control of the individual parts of Westeros still largely fell to the single most powerful family in each territory. The Starks in the north, the Aerys in the Vale, the Tullys in the Riverlands, who were a relatively minor house that rose up to take the place of House Hoare, who pissed off Aegon just a little too much during the war and got annihilated. The Lannisters were still kicking it in the Westerlands, the Tyrells now controlled the Reach, replacing the all-dead House Gardener in a fashion similar to the Tullys, and the Targaryens' good pals, the Baratheons, who came with them from Valyria, got given the Stormlands to replace the almost all-dead House Durrandon. The dragon-slaying Dornish were governed by House Martell way down to the south. The Targaryens themselves set up on the spot where Aegon first arrived on the mainland, calling it King's Landing and building a big old castle there out of red stone. The political system of Westeros was made yet more feudal because, while each noble house was the official protector of the former kingdoms, quite a lot of the actual land itself was owned by multiple minor lords and knights, who, in exchange for their protection and not being killed by them, agreed to obey the larger house's laws and orders and carry their banners as well as their own, becoming known as bannermen. In the event of war, a major lord could summon his banners, i.e. demand all the minor houses sworn to him quickly round up all the knights and men-at-arms they could and come and join his army. While the Targaryen conquest of Westeros was an overwhelming success, their rule wasn't always quite as good, as their habit of marrying their siblings and not playing by any established rules in regards to picking a successor when they died led to multiple rebellions and civil wars over the next few centuries that effectively wiped out all their healthy dragons, and the survivors got progressively smaller and weaker by the generation until they finally died out altogether, leaving nothing behind but bones and unhatchable eggs. During all this, Dorne was finally conquered but rebelled pretty quickly, then finally joined the Targaryens peacefully through a diplomatic marriage, making the title of ruler of the Seven Kingdoms less ironic. The beginning of the end for the Targaryens came about 280 years into their dynasty, with the ascension of King Aerys Targaryen, the second of his name, who would become more commonly known as the Mad King towards the end of his life. Quite a fitting title, because a combination of extreme inbreeding and a traumatic early life left him quite insane. Treason! It was generally accepted by all that the only reason he made it as long as he did was because his chosen second-in-command, a position known as the Hand of the King, Tywin Lannister, was doing all the actual hard work ruling the kingdom, a general acceptance that annoyed the king so much he was a constant dick to Tywin. He can't be fully blamed for the downfall though, because his eldest son Prince Rhaegar really didn't help matters much either. You see, at this point in time the North was being ruled over by Lord Rickard Stark, who had 4 children, Bran, Eddard, Lyanna and Benjen. Benjen decided to join the Night's Watch, so he's largely irrelevant to this part of the story. It was considered good practice at the time for the noble houses to foster their children with each other to promote good relations, so Eddard was sent off to live with Jon Arryn in the Vale. The eldest Baratheon child, Robert, was there too, and they became like total BFFs. Rickard decided that Lyanna and Robert would make a good match, so they got engaged. However, despite being married with kids already, young Rhaegar took a fancy to Lyanna and kidnapped her. Her big brother Brandon was none too pleased about this, so went all the way down to King's Landing to get her back. Come out and die, you blonde pansy! However, unfortunately,
Rhaegar can't come out and play right now, because he's not here! I'm also pretty sure what you just said is treason, so yeah, look him up.
Then the Mad King sent word to Lord Rickard.
Hi, so it's a pretty bad situation. You know, we can talk it out like adults. Why don't you come down here and we'll discuss it. I definitely won't burn you alive.
You promise?
Yep, it's all good. I promise on my honor as a king and a Targaryen.
Well, okay.
Sucker! Burn him for treason! Kill his son too.
Ah, fuck. The king then sent a message to Jon Arryn of the Vale.
Hey Jon, buddy, gonna need you to hand over the young man you're fostering so I can chop his head off, because he's a relation of treason and so forth. Actually, you know what? Send me the other one too, because he might have a claim to my throne, and he was engaged to treason's sister, so I'm gonna chop his head off too. So, you know, whenever you're ready.
To which, thankfully, John replied, no. No, I'm not going to do that. Fuck you. Stick it up your bum. Treason. And thus began the rebellion. Robert went back to Storm's End and called the Baratheon bannermen, and Eddard went up to the north and called all the Stark bannermen. All the other houses were asked to pick a side. The Tullys and the Starks were like total bros at this point, so they stuck with them. The Tyrells were like, fuck that, mad or not, he's still the king. Plus, you should ask the Gardeners what happens if you fuck with the Targaryens. Oh wait, you can't, they're all dead. The Dornish said, ugh, I guess if we have to, we'll side with the bloody Targaryens. Rhaegar's married to a Dornish princess, after all. And the Lannisters? Well, they were the only ones who refused to do fuck all. Prince Rhaegar threw on his finest threads and reassured his father. Oh, relax, Dad, I got this. He did not, however, got this. What he got was his chest stoved in by Robert Baratheon's warhammer. With that battle lost, everyone pretty much knew the Targaryens were fucked. Aerys locked himself up in King's Landing and prepared for a siege. It was at this moment that Tywin Lannister showed up with his army. Hey Aerys, I've made up my mind. I'm totes here to defend you. Aerys, being mad but not a complete idiot, was a tad skeptical about this, but his advisor, Grand Maester Pycelle, reassured him.
He'll be cool, your majesty. His son's one of your Kingsguard, after all.
So, they opened the gates and let them in, but the Lannisters were like, LOL, just kidding, let's smash the place, ha! Aerys was, unsurprisingly, a little upset by this.
Something. Fine! If I can't have King's Landing, no one can. Blow it up! Jamie, go kill your father.
However, Jaime really wasn't on board with this plan, so he killed the Mad King! Then, presumably, he was feeling a bit tired because he went for a cheeky sit down on the throne while he waited for Eddard to show up. Ned really wasn't in the mood for his shenanigans though, so he made him get up and Robert got to sit on it instead. John became the new hand of the king and Eddard went to look for his sister, finding her dying in a tower and could only take her body back to the north, along with a bastard child he had fathered while he was in the south. While all this was going on, the Mad King's other son, Viserys, and his pregnant wife escaped to Dragonstone, where unfortunately she died giving birth during a particularly nasty storm, earning her daughter what would almost certainly be the only title she would ever pick up in her life. After the fall of Dragonstone became inevitable, they were whisked away over the narrow sea to avoid the fate of the rest of their family. Things settled down for a few years after that, aside from a group of islands off the coast attempting to go rogue, but getting slapped down pretty hard by everybody, and a steady build-up of strange activity beyond the wall. Eventually, the Lord Commander sent a new recruit lordling and 2 veterans to investigate what the wildlings were up to.
Burn them all, 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 burn them all. Burn them all, 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 burn them all.